It's settled. Late reports have affirmed the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford battle. Canelo got a predominant consistent choice triumph over Edgar Berlanga, effectively shielding his full cluster of super middleweight world titles. Following the session, Alvarez declared he intends to go home for the year to recuperate and re-energize, albeit the Guadalajara local is presently on stop for the rest of the year. The buzz encompassing him stays a long way from, particularly with regards to hypothesis about his true capacity. Next rival Terence Crawford and Turki Alal, the conspicuous advertiser behind the exceptionally expected session, have both given difficulties to Canelo Alvarez, with the most recent get-down on coming after Alvarez's triumph over Berlanga. Crawford is the greatest battle in boxing. We are prepared. We need to prepare for this, expressed Bud in a video the evening of the Tapatios battle. Canelo, who recently referenced in interviews that he confront Crawford for $150 million, has now affirmed he will make his revisitation of the ring in May 2025 following his break. Right. Currently, I will rest. I have nothing as a main priority. Subsequently, I will chat with Eddie Rosso, Al Hayan, and Luis Dubas Jr. to see what's coming yet. There isn't anything we can say right now. We will see what's coming in May, said the Mexican in the question and answer session after the battle with Berlanga, as per columnist Sean Zid on the Porterway digital broadcast. Word is spreading that Saul Canelo Alvarez is almost certain to consent to a standoff with Terence Crawford in May. To explain, I shared things I accumulated heard during the past battle week from those near the data that I didn't hear. That it's affirmed. That is the reason I said a very genuine chance. Yet nothing about the battle being affirmed, he shared on X. The WBO has commanded a session between Terence Crawford and Sebastian Fundora. Yet Canelo Alvarez accepts this doesn't preclude a future conflict with the super welterweight champion. Crawford, having recently ruled as the undisputed boss at 147 pounds, moved forward to light middleweight to vanquish WBA champion Israel Madov. Now he's preparing for his most memorable title safeguard in this new division. As of late, Crawford wants to take on the bound-together super middleweight champion. However, the Mexican seems to stay unconvinced by the test. Alvarez inferred that battling Crawford holds negligible advantage for him, with Crawford weighing 14 pounds less. He accepts there would be little acknowledgement if he somehow managed to overcome the undefeated American. Anyway, any resentful in support of Crawford would be praised as a significant triumph. Canelo anyway won't completely preclude whatever in that frame of mind with boxing scene. Alvarez said, I think not. I'm not saying that battle can't occur. That request doesn't make any difference. In the meantime, Mike Tyson communicated his qualms about Terence Crawford climbing to 168 pounds to take on Canelo Alvarez for the boss's threesome of titles in that division. Mike Tyson, broadly known as Iron Mike, saw that Terence Crawford didn't show up at his best in his new match, climbing from 147 to 154 pounds to challenge Israel Madria for the WBA junior middleweight title on August 3rd. Crawford confronted a critical actual test. Tyson remarked on frantic size, proposing that Crawford might have been hasty to take on such a considerable rival. Madrimov released a blast of destroying right hands against Crawford all through the session, reliably handling the more effective and exact strikes in each round. As we noticed the battle unfurl, it was obvious to me that Madrimov merited the triumph for conveying the better punches. Anyway, the appointed authorities appeared then assessed the match as though it were represented by novice standards. The appointed authorities granted Crawford a tight, consistent choice after 12 adjusts. Yet his exhibition didn't convincingly show the way that the almost 37-year-old warrior could move forward to 168 pounds to challenge Canelo, the ruling WBA, WBC, and WBO super middleweight champion. Crawford's inspiration for pursuing that rewarding Canelo battle is clear. He expects to get a monetary pad for his brilliant years living in the extravagance suggestive of overlaid age magnates. Anyway, the fans merit a fair shot at this display. Assuming Crawford really needs that retirement bonanza against, he'll have to move forward to 168 and exhibit his value against the considerable huge four. Crawford effectively explore these four provokes. He'll be ready to move forward and take on Canelo Alvarez for his threesome of super middleweight titles. It's actually that clear. To get that amazing chance, Crawford should crush for it, very much like any other person in life. There are no easy routes. His history needs profundity, populated by over-the-hill rivals and warriors who never entirely arrived at their potential. Mike Tyson communicated his aversion for an expected battle between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Referring to worries over the weight distinction, he referenced that Crawford's past battle against Israel Madov had been close because of Madov's size and off-kilter battling style. recommending that Crawford shouldn't have even taken that battle. Tyson shared these contemplations during a meeting on the What Will Be YouTube channel as he examined Crawford, perhaps climbing to 168 pounds to challenge Canelo for his bound together super middleweight titles. Daniel Jacobs thinks Crawford, who has expressed that he needs to go as far as possible, up to 168 pounds, to battle Canelo Alvarez, will scrutinize himself. Jacobs, who confronted Canelo in a consistent choice to accomplishment back in May 2019, accepts Crawford could stand his ground against Alvarez, assuming that this fantasy matchup at any point happens. Abilities some of the time cover the bills. And we realize without a doubt that Crawford has the right stuff over Canelo. Jacobs, as of late, told Battle Center Television. He added it simply in some cases. Influence, weight, and experience might have a calculate that, so it will be a decent test for Crawford. Yet, I think the fans are the victor in that specific battle, having vanquished the 147B division and gotten his title as the undisputed welterweight champion. Crawford investigated the 154-pound scene in his forthcoming battle against Madoff. Should an exceptionally expected confrontation with Canelo happen as expected, it would see Crawford climb 2 extra weight classes into the super middleweight domain, viewed by fans and pundits as the main pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. Crawford flaunts excellent boxing PR anyway. His capacity to persevere through Alvarez's punches at 168 pounds is as yet untested. Crawford versus Madoff, as Jacobs would see it, was a decent sign. This will be a decent test for Crawford. Jacobs expressed discuss the potential Terence Crawford versus Saul Canelo Alvarez battle won't disappear. Whether or not it will truly happen is an alternate story. A critical element to consider is the dissimilarity in weight between the two contenders. Canelo has contended at light heavyweight in any event, guaranteeing a world title there. However, he additionally confronted a loss in that class against Dimitri underhanded. Crawford, a previous undisputed boss in the lightweight division, accomplished a similar wonderful status in the welterweight classification by overcoming Errol Spence Jr. in July 2023. In his latest session, he crushed Israel Madoff at the main endeavor by lifting the load to 154 pounds. In his latest session, Canelo Alvarez shielded his 3 super middleweight titles against Edgar Berlanga, displaying his abilities as he has against past challengers like John Ryder and Haim Monja. Anyway, it's quite important that he hasn't scored a stop in any of his last 5 matches. Coach up Jesse Bam Rodriguez and Virgil Ortiz. Robert Garcia was likewise expecting Canelo to stop his person. He said it was an incredible battle. I think the two of them put in an extraordinary battle. I thought like every other person that Canelo planned to take him out, yet Berlanga came and prepared to battle. He got thumped down very great, yet got done up like anything and battled all around well. It was a decent battle. As of now, various fans are anxious to see him go head-to-head against previous title holder David Benz. Anyway, at this point, no dealings have come to fruition, prompting continuous plate conversations about an expected matchup with Crawford. Garcia has shared his estimate for the match, recommending that in the event that it unfurls as expected, the observable size uniqueness will turn into an urgent component, possibly putting Crawford in a difficult situation as the battle advances. He said Crawford will make a valiant effort. I don't see him winning, yet I see him setting up a decent 6-8 rounds. After that, I see Canelo dominating, yet I figure those initial 6 rounds will be extremely close, or perhaps Crawford would be ahead. I could see him win a few rounds against Canelo. Terence is solid genuinely and intellectually, and that's what you want. So he sets up certain rounds. I don't figure he will win since it will be intense for him. Canelo's influence strength in the late adjusts. That is where Crawford begins causing problems. Crawford has said that the main thing that panics him about Canelo is his height. Yet he likewise referenced that he has a past filled with battling bigger rivals in regards to a potential battle between boxing champions Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Brian Garcia has offered his viewpoints plainly and unequivocally. In a new meeting, Garcia perceived for his provocative assertions marked Crawford an exaggerated failure and solidly declared that Alvarez would win, assuming that they got down to business in the ring in an open meeting with Cheese Television. Garcia got straight to the point. He named Crawford as a dull contender, stating that he's contemptible of the spotlight he orders, and provocatively recommended that he's just stealing cash from the game of boxing. The youthful warrior, as of now serving a doping boycott, even ventured to challenge Crawford, saying, "Come see me in the ring on the off chance that you believe I'm talking." Took advantage of Garcia's remarks were particularly daring, considering his continuous suspension and the ruckus over his ineffective medication test from recently energy blended in the boxing local area. Terence Crawford caught his fourth world title, guaranteeing the WBA super welterweight belt by overcoming Israel Madrimov. This accomplishment reignited discussion as a confrontation among Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, especially after Saudi Arabia's boxing boss Turki Alek flagged his excitement for coordinating the session and, surprisingly, made a proposal to Alvarez anyway. Alvarez declined, provoking Alal Sheikh to move his concentrate somewhere else. He then recommended a possible conflict among Crawford and the undefeated American star, Ver Ortiz Jr., creating another flood of hypothesis and expectation.